Hi, in this video we're going to, it's all about how to get information into Access. You've already created a database, and it's the Hudson database, and these are some of the tables that you do have in there, but you don't have any of the data in there. And if we take a look at customer, you can see that there's no information in there as of yet. No records, that is, as of yet. There are several ways of getting access into your tables. It makes your data entry go a lot quicker than entering in the 41 records that it wants in here for customer. So we'll take a look at a few of those options. So first of all, you can import directly into from an existing table into Access, and I'll show you how that works first. I'm going to close this customer table for a minute. And up here we have the tabs, and we want external data, and you can see that this is divided into two sections of import and link and export. So you can go either way. We could open up the database that we want to get the information from and export it into a table here, or we can do it the opposite way, and we're going to grab something from an existing Access database, and this is our options right here. It says import tables, queries, forms, reports, macros, modules into the current database. And that's exactly what we want to do. So we can browse to where this database is. It's not this one, so let's go browse for that. And I have it in, I think it's some of the end of chapter solutions. And it's the complete database that you guys are working on. Sorry, I can't give you the completed database. But there's the Hudson database that you're working on. And if I open that, nothing else to do right here. We've selected our location. That's the database. We selected the option of importing the tables, queries, forms. We only want a table in this case, but we say OK. It comes up with a complete list of those tables. The table that we want to import an existing table with the structure and everything of one that we don't have here to demonstrate this, and we'll grab clinic. And we only want this one. We don't want any of the other ones. We could select them all and have the whole entire database already completed with the data and the structure, and or any queries, forms, reports, macros, and modules. But we only want this one for this example, and we go into options. And right now we don't want any relationships because I'm going to show you that in a different way. And import tables. Do we want the definition and the data, or the definition only? The definition only is just the structure of it. It's just what the field names are in the data types, with no data, like I showed you in the customer table at the beginning of this video. But in this case, we want both the definition and the data. So we say OK. And the next one is we could save these steps if we were going to, if this was a process that we were going to do over and over. It could be a monthly thing that we're going to grab this table with all the data in it, and we could save those steps if it was something we were doing you know, on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, a yearly basis. But in this case, no, this is a one-time thing. So we're just saying close. Our clinic table is over here. If I open it up, there it is. All of the structure, which our structure that I'm talking about is, or the definition that they call it in here, is all of our table names set up, whatever the data type is, and everything. So there's one method of getting a complete table in. Let's go back out here and let's close this one. The next way that we're going to demonstrate is pulling in the information from an Excel spreadsheet or workbook, and we're going to put this into the customer table. I've already defined the whole definition or the structure of this, and as we're looking down through, there's something that we really need to pay attention to here is the field names that we've decided in here in the definition is the same as from the Excel spreadsheet that we're actually importing in from. So let's go take a look at that. Let's run down through. At first we have cust first name, cust last name. That's spelling and space of it. Date of birth is DOB. It's not spelled out. It's spelled out here in the caption, but that doesn't. That's only for a visual or in the data sheet view. It doesn't affect what the actual field name is. So this is what it's going to go by. What else do we have in here? So the gender doesn't look like anything is different there. Balance, childproof cap. Really pay attention to, is it spelled the same way? Does it have a space? Does it have a question mark? It is a yes or no field, and we'll look at that in a minute to see what the differences are, or if it looks like that it will work. The other thing was that we missed on this one was the, nope, not there. Oh, date of birth. Yes, there was a, there might have been an input mask on this, and those you will have to remove because they don't transfer over very well. You'll get some errors on that. So I removed the input mask that was down here. And the other thing was plan ID. There, I had to remove, I think there was no space here, so we'll take a look at that. Also, this one was a lookup field. So you just have to remove that information and turn it back into a short text. Some of those things you just have to watch out for. Going through, if you import something and you start getting a message saying that an input mask or a lookup table is not valid for this database, or this field does not exist, these are the things that you'll have to look for. Alright, so let's go compare that to the data sheet that they want us to import. I do have it here, but this is the fixed version. I'm going to go out and take a look at the original version, and this is from the student the student data files, which I'll show you at the end of the video where you can get the data files. So data files, chapter 2, it's in here, and this one right here. So as you can see, they have their field names are called or in the first labels that they give them are first name spelled out, last name, date of birth spelled out. So I had to change this one to cust first, cust last, no spaces, DOB for date of birth. The format looks good. The gender looks fine. It's male or female, so I do have a validation rule in there. I don't think it will affect it any. But those are sometimes things that you just have to do by trial and error and say, we'll see how it goes. See if we get an error on that. That one did not create an error. Balance, it is a currency. Childproof cap. Spelled the same way as we have it in the database. That is fine. Plan ID, there's a space in here. I had to remove the space. Household ID is the same. And this one also was head HH, no question mark, was the way it is. And it's a yes or no field, so that one should be fine. So let's see. We'll close this one. Alright, so I did make those changes in this one. I've created all the changes in here. Yeah. Yes. So we put in cust first, cust last, DOB, making sure everything else matched. Take the space out of here, the space out of between house and ID, and rename this one H head HH. So this should work fine. I'm going to close this. Now let's go back to Access. And you know, you can just look over and see that everything is the same. So let's go into the datasheet view, and we'll close this just because it causes sometimes when you have a table open, it will give you an error saying you can't put information in because it's open, especially when you're dealing with relationships. So on this, get external data. And we're going to Excel in this case, and we're going to append a copy of the record to the table and select the table that it is, and this one happens to be customer. And we're going to browse for that Excel file, and it's chapter 2, there it is, and open. And everything is good on here. We can say OK. It already knows that the first row contains column headings, so there's really not much else to do on this. I say next. It is import to the table customer. You just want to verify. We don't need to do anything else, and we can finish. It asked if you want to save your steps, and in this case we're saying no. And if we go in customer, everything worked great. Alright, so there's how to do it a different way. We can also import from and create a table. I'll not just copy over a table like we did in for the clinic, but we could let's close this one. So let's go actually let's just take a another Excel, and instead of, we're just going to import the source data into a new table in the current database. So we're not going to, we don't have the structure already created, or the definition that they call it in here. So let's browse to that. Let's go find a one that we haven't done yet, and class access. Let's go into the oops, this isn't where we wanted to go. Let's go back into student data files. Data files, chapter 2. Let's pick something that is not over here, and how about we select something like the, I think it is the plan. Let's do plan. We don't see plan over there, so let's grab plan, and we'll open this. It puts the complete path in there. We're putting this into a new import source data into a new table. Okay. Now it gives you a little bit of a few options here. Yes. The first row does contain column headings, meaning the field names going across. If you don't do this, this is going to be record 1, and that would not be, you would have to fix it. So if you click off that, now this row will import it as these are the field names. It asks about each. You can go down, you have a few more options in here. We can go in and we can say that each plan ID, plan, 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 what the field name is. You can change the data type. I believe it is staying as short text, but you have the option of going through and changing any of those. So we'll just say next on this. Now it already has a primary key here, so let's do that. Let's choose a primary key, and we can choose the plan ID for that. You can choose to have no primary key, or let Access choose a primary key, which would be the auto number. But in this case, we do have a key field right here, primary key to choose from. What are we going to call this? And we are going to call this and we do have health plan. Oh, we had this in here. But we can leave it as the plan ID, or actually put going with our naming convention, BL health plan, or table health plan, and finish. Do we want to save the steps? Not in this case. And there we are. So there's our health plan, and it copied everything over. So there's another way of getting data or getting information in here and creating some tables along the way. So there's a few ways of doing that. There are many others. You can copy and highlight information and from one spreadsheet copy it over, but you do have to watch that your what your names are. If you're copying them into an existing structure such as customer, really watch that and make sure that these names do match, not in here but actually in your structure in here, making sure that these names match whatever is on the data sheet. It's easier to go back and change the data sheet in most cases than it is to go in and change the structure in your database or in your table. So we're going to close this. The next thing we're going to take a look at is some relationships, and in here we do a one-to-many relationship, or several one-to-many relationships, and we have to go into database tools and going and click onto the relationships, and we do have customer in here already. That's probably because it was just added at some point, but generally when you come in here you don't see any tables, so we have to hit the show table. And in here we already have customer, and what do we want to relate that to? We have household, plan ID. We can actually do that. Plan ID. Grab the plan ID, and we can grab the household table. Sorry, not ID, but tables. And then put it behind here. So we can just demonstrate those relationships. And we can say close on this. We don't need any more tables. And when you do this, you're going to be joining a lot more tables, but this will just give you a small sample of how to do this. Now what we want to do is this. We have a plan ID here, and then we have the plan ID that's the foreign key in here. This one's the primary key, represented by the key. There can only be one plan ID over here, and there in the foreign key over here, there can be multiple plan IDs that are the same type. So let's go in and we'll join this one to the plan ID. And this part is referential integrity. So we always want to enforce referential integrity because it ensures that these IDs are the same ones that are in here. You cannot have an ID that is not here first over here, or you'll get an error. So I believe this is going to give me an error just to demonstrate this, and we'll find out what the problem is. Yes, so it says something to that effect. It says, for example, there may be records related to the employee in the related table, but no record of the employee in the primary table. So they're giving that for an example. And I know what the problem is. So we're going like, okay, so let's go take a look. And now I remember what we had to take off certain things to import all of the data correct, so it will import without a problem. And there was a lookup field on the plan ID, I believe. So let's go out and recreate that. So let's cancel this and go into, I believe it's on customer. So in customer, and let's go into the datasheet view and go down to that particular field, which was a plan ID, and it's a short text, but what we want to do is do a lookup wizard on that, and you want to look up the values from a table or a query, and that's exactly what we had done. So we say next. What table was it? It was the plan ID, or the health plan table. I'm going to say next. What are the first two fields that we want? We want these two. Then we're going to say next. I really don't care about the ascending, but we can pick something in there. And it always comes up with just the plan name, but I want to see the key column too. So that's what I'm basing it off. So we can expand this so we can see. I'm going through this part kind of fast because I've already demonstrated this in previous lessons. And we can say next on this. This is the field that we want to use. This is the value that's going into the table. And what do we want to call it? Yes, keep it as the plan ID. It will save a lot of confusion. Don't want to enable data integrity, but it will create a relationship kind of in the background because I'm going to demonstrate, go back into the relationships and demonstrate that. I'm going to say finish. The table must be saved before the relationship can be created. That's the one in the background I just talked about. We'll say yes. So we need to actually close this before we can join this relationship in here. Now let's try it and see if it's all happy about this. Oh, it will give us another error, and just to demonstrate that and some of the errors that you might see, we're going to say this. Now it comes up and it says, for example, let me see, it says violates referential integrity rules. And it kind of comes up with the same thing. And oh, sorry, yeah, we did not. The reason why it did that was we have the lookup field, but we actually didn't go and put the values in here. The reason why it's still giving us the same thing is because it still sees the same problem. We went and put the lookup field on there to make it easier, but we didn't fill in these. So that's why we get the error again. So just filling those in. It doesn't matter which ones I select, but as long as it has a value in there, it will be happy. It just cannot contain a null value. So these key fields, these fields here, have to be ones that are in the primary table, which is in the health plan table. These keys have to match here, and this table cannot contain, since there are no null values over in this table and you can't have a primary key that's a null value, it will not accept that relationship because it does not see that. So just to tab off of there, making sure that everything is saved, and this table will need to be closed. Now, third time's a charm, right? And let's go to Plan ID, and I'm just holding down the left mouse button and dragging it over until I get the onto the correct field and let go. And Plan ID to Plan ID, and we can say create, oops, sorry, I missed a step there. We can go back in and we can edit this relationship. We wanted to enforce referential integrity. As you see, even if there was an error here, Access would let you join anything to anything. It doesn't even have to be related in the same data types. But until you enforce referential integrity, cascaded, updated, related fields, or just enforcing referential integrity, it will let you do anything in here. It'll let you join all kinds of crazy relationships. But this ensures that these IDs are the same ones that are going to be in here, so giving therefore your database a lot more integrity and making sure that it is correct. These two options are just updated related fields, so if you change a primary key somewhere, it will update all of the foreign keys. And the same thing with cascade delete related records. So if we do delete the main record out of here, it will update all of the other foreign keys or records that correspond to it. If we say okay, it's finally happy, we get we know we enforce referential integrity and it's correct, and we get the little one to many symbol. The same thing over here, this one shouldn't give us any problems, is the household ID to the household ID. Let's enforce referential integrity, and we can select those two options as well and create, and we have another one-to-many relationship over here. Now, a one-to-many relationship and a one-to-many relationship, we have a many-to-many relationship on the middle table. So those are the two different relationships that we're demonstrating here. One-to-many relationship and a one-to-many relationship, which gives us a many-to-many relationship as long as there's a many-to-many on one table. The student data files, this is it for the Access portion. The student data files, you can find that if we open up a browser, and it's on the inside cover, the back inside cover of your book. It tells you where your data files can be found. But if you just start typing in and go to CengageBrain.com and try again, I don't know why that happened, and you just search on the author here, and it's Sandra. And it comes up with, it's Sandra Cable. So if you type in, starting to type in her name or type in her whole name, it should come up with the book. And select it. And come down to free materials. Click on free materials, and then we say access now, and up will pop the student data files. Alright, I click in student data files, and that's all it is. And we're downloading a zip file, and that's the folder that I went to that had all of your all of the Excel worksheets in there that you can do to complete Chapter 2, Level 2 exercise in the book. Thank you.